Welcome back to the Slay Your Day podcast. Today I have a special guest with me, Brooke Leone. Brooke, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be hanging out with you.
Yes. Okay, so we are going to get into all of the things. And for those of you who don't know Brooke, I'm going to have her introduce herself. But Brooke is a realtor here in South Florida. She is a new mom. So for all of our listeners that are trying to figure out, for the first time, how to juggle wife life, mom life, work life, we're going to get into it with Brooke today. So, Brooke, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to the listeners.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brooke Leone. I am a new mommy. I have a son, Miles. He is 10 weeks old. He's delicious. I grew up in Aventura, Florida. I've lived here my whole life. And I got into real estate in 2016. I did a few rentals for some friends. And then I was like, you know what? Let's make this full time. And I decided to give it everything I got in about 2018, 2019. And it just keeps growing and growing. And I'm super, super blessed. So thank you so much for having me, Sandy.
Yes. Well, I wanted to invite you on because I knew you before you had Miles, and then now you're in this new adventure of your life. We got Jake when he was born. It was a globe and it said you are our greatest adventure. And I really feel like, as a mom, it is, and I mean any parent really, but as a mom, I can speak for myself and say it is such an adventure. It's like something new every day and you just never know where it's going to take you. And business can be more predictable, but parenting is like a whole other story.
Yes,
so
yes.
I
I have a new respect for moms. I always had respect, but I'm now you don't know until it happens
yeah.
to you.
Yes, it's so true. So I want to dive in. And again, for those of you that are listening and you are trying to figure out, how to do work and also be a mom, or maybe you're starting a new venture, or maybe you're about to have a baby or your next baby, this is the episode for you. So Brooke, I want to start off and I want to ask you, as a new mom, has your perspective on balancing or juggling work life and home life, kind of all the things, has that changed since adding motherhood into the mix?
Absolutely. And I knew that it would actually help me get down to business
Mhm.
because time is so limited,
Yep.
and I've worked with you one on one and we've done productivity coaching and I've learned all of the systems, but somehow I would still sneak into my schedule every day watching an hour of Bravo or just like, just things that they're not making me money, they're not making me better, they're not making me healthier. So now I'm super, super into time blocking, getting things on the schedule. Even the family gets weirded out. They're like, "Oh wait, you not till next Saturday at 2 o'clock? Like, what is this?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's when you
Yep.
can come see Miles."
Absolutely. I love it. Well, okay, so we're going to dive into some more of these tips that you have because I think this is so great. But I want to ask you, like, what have been maybe like one or two, you can share it all. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you face in trying to balance, being a new mom and managing your career, because both of them are really full-time jobs, but what would you say, what is your kind of feedback or take on what those challenges have been?
So challenges are running on less sleep
Mhm.
and your life just changes so much. I have less time with my partner. He's the best partner in the whole world and I really wouldn't have been able to do this without him. Well, obviously, but he is so clutch. Like he anything that I'm like, "Oh, we really need to do that." I'll get a text like, "Oh, I just ordered this. I think we needed to do that." I was like, but the challenges, yeah, lack of sleep and then just I do have a little bit less time to work. We did hire a nanny
Mhm.
and she's with us from 10 to 3 most days. And every few days I do ask her, "Can you stay till 4? Can you stay till 5? Can you stay till
Yeah.
7?" And like the hours just keep adding up. But you know what? I know it's an investment because
Right.
anything I'm doing to take care of myself or take care of the baby or the family, I know it's going to come back to us. So I have no
Mhm.
problem asking for more help.
Yeah. I mean, I did an episode maybe a year or two ago on my YouTube channel about, how my kids are my jet fuel and how they give me,
Mm.
not just more like energy because yes, I am getting less sleep. But it's like they give you so much more, I would say, focus and direction because you have that limited time. And it's like, if you have your nanny between 10 and 3, like you have those hours. And even if you extend it, even if you have extra hours, it's like she's still going to go home at the end of the day. And you have to be the one that tells yourself, I either got this done or I didn't. And am I going to have to put it off until tomorrow, or did I get it done? So it's like for me, I use that so much as my fuel to be able to be so strategic about my time and where I showed up. And I felt like at the end of the day, it actually allowed me to be even more structured, even more organized, because I knew if it didn't get done, like shame on me because now I got to push it to tomorrow.
Yes, exactly. I experienced that, and I can move things from the in the calendar from one day to the next. And if I do it more than once, I feel really guilty.
And again, we give ourselves grace, but at the end of the day, it's like you learn, right? You're like learning through that. I was just doing on someone else's podcast, and she was asking me these questions, and I said, "Man, your first is really like you're so much trial and error. Like, I was like, poor Jake, but like I really did learn, because the first one, you're like, at least me, I was so scared with everything. I mean, we had a foot sock on him because I was afraid he was going to stop breathing. I was afraid, like, I don't know. It was like all these fears that I had as a first time mom. And I think women experience that. And I think that it's okay to talk about it. We should talk about it because it's normal and it should be normalized. But I think trying to balance it all in the beginning can be very overwhelming.
Yes, the first 2 weeks, I think I cried a lot, but it was
And
just
your
so many.
hormones
Yeah,
too.
they're up and down, and making sure they're breathing. There's been probably 2 or 3 times he's sleeping in my arms, and I'll like put my hand over his mouth and nose,
Right. Like,
and he'll look too much in sleep. I'm like, wake up, Miles, wake up.
right.
Okay,
Right.
okay, you're good. All
Right.
right.
By the second baby, you're like, okay, they're asleep. I can like wash my hair.
Yes, I know that's gonna happen. I know it, and I
Yes.
know the first one, and your everything is so exciting. He just smiled for the
Mhm.
first time, and we're like,
Yeah.
wow. And I send it to the entire family.
Yes.
And that's another full-time job, I feel. Like moms, I
Mhm.
can become secretaries,
Yeah.
for their kids, like to come see
Yes.
them, to make plans. And I married into a humongous family, and I love all of them. And I want to spend time with all of them and have them all get
Yes.
to know Miles. But that's like another, thing that I get to do is
Right.
bring the baby to everybody or have everybody. And that's more time away from my personal and
Yeah.
my business.
Yep.
So it is
So
a
how have you
huge
navigated
balance.
that? Is that how have you like either set boundaries or like what has helped you there?
I have set major boundaries. I told some of the family, no more of these pop buys. Don't just pop by. Like my
Yeah,
time's so
that's
type
hard.
A, we're so scheduled. And I don't even and I have boundaries. If I've mentally scheduled in, this is time for just me, my husband, and my
Right?
baby, and we're gonna hang out for two
Yes.
hours on the couch, like no one come over.
Right. Right. Well, it's
Um,
good. You're protecting your peace. You're protecting that family time that is so, so special. So I'm proud of you for that.
thank you. I love boundaries,
Yes.
and
Amen.
yeah, yes.
So, we're talking about boundaries, but I also want to ask you about some of the strategies or routines that you found helpful because I know for me as a working mom, like routines are like everything, and I have my morning routine and my nighttime routine and then I have routines for work and for the kids. So, I want to
Yeah.
ask you about how you manage or if you have those routines between all the different responsibilities that you have now between work and home family.
Yes. So morning routine. Well, my husband and I are sleeping in shifts. So I go to bed at 8 o'clock at night and I'm up at 1 a.m. Like that's my shift to help Miles. And
Yeah.
then he tags me out at 1 a.m. Sometimes we schmooze and chat till like 2 a.m. I'm like, go to bed. And
It's
then
cute.
basically from 1 in the morning till our nanny comes at 10 a.m. I'm on. So
Mhm.
whether he is sleeping more through the night or he's fussy, um, I'm with him and either feeding him, doing all the things that he needs. And from 8 to 10 a.m., that's one of my favorite times of day because it's just mommy and Miles.
Yeah. Aw.
And I love it. He's like super awake sometimes. And I'll put him in his play gym and we'll do tummy time. He'll like look around the room, do all of his exercises.
Yep.
And then at 10 a.m., basically 10 to 10:45 is kind of just Brooke time. I'm eating, I'm showering, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm
Yeah.
taking care of me so that I can take care of business.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and then till 3 o'clock, I'm either working on the business or I'm in the business. I'm doing showings,
Mhm.
I'm getting my listings set up. So much goes into it. There has to be photography. I had an appointment where I went to a listing and I go around, I show them everything that we should do before photography, how we can,
Mhm.
make her look her best.
Yep. I love
And
that.
then at 3 o'clock, I'm home, or I'll keep working till 7 sometimes, and I'll ask the nanny to stay.
Mhm.
Um, Dinner is around 6, and we're either cooking or ordering in, and we're taking turns. I really love our my mom or his mom come over till 8 o'clock sometimes, and
Mhm.
I go to bed at 8. So I'm like, if I can just have an hour with my husband, that would be
Oh,
amazing.
that's so good.
Yes. So we are blessed living near family.
Yes.
Um, so they're very helpful. So if that's the case, we can be eating together. Otherwise, if it's just me, CJ, and Miles, I cook, he eats, then I eat, or if the baby's sleeping, we'll get to eat together. So
Yeah.
it's always changing. We just kind of take it as it comes.
Yeah. And
And
that's how it is at
then
this stage. I mean, like again, going through this 2 times now, the first time I remember being just like, man, like to me, I put sleep above everything. Like I was like, I don't care if I don't eat, but like obviously I was breastfeeding, so I did have to drink water, eat a bunch of oatmeal, you
mhm,
know. But sleep, I noticed how much that impacted my supply. So I was
mhm,
like, oh my gosh, like I and still to this day, like my family jokes with me because I go to bed so early. I go to bed at 9, but I wake up at 5.
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to wake up at 5 if I didn't go to bed at 9. So like, the fact that you have a schedule, you have your routines, and then I love that you build that time in there with CJ, with your husband, because I think in the beginning, and I can speak from my own experience, it's hard to find that partner connection time because the baby needs you for everything. And I think that, like, in talking with my husband, he was like, I don't really know where I fit in. Like, I can't feed the baby the same way you do. I can't, like, do these things that you do, but like he would find ways to be helpful, whether it was like burping him or changing him or rocking him or whatever. But I feel like baby aside, right? It was you and your husband before the baby was there. Like it's so important that you keep that time sacred.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
So good.
We're a team.
Yes, so good. Okay, so you mentioned that you've worked with me one on one and in the academy. So, someone who's been through that coaching and you've participated, in the academy. Now, on the other side of it, now having your baby along with working, which of those, whether it was time management or your automations or maybe under the productivity umbrella, what tips do you feel now have made the biggest impact now that you have baby and business?
Yes, it's all about delegation and trust. Um, and you taught me a lot about if I don't have to do it, I shouldn't do it, for business.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
I every few months I'll do a brain dump of all of the things that I'm like doing that I shouldn't, that I don't need to be doing, that I should trust and
Good.
train somebody to do. So,
Wait, I
you
want you
know,
to say that again because for the moms listening, that's a really good gem right there. Can you say that again?
great. Now I forgot.
You
Okay.
said
Is
you
it
said every few months.
every few months I do a brain dump and I think, what am I doing in my business that it doesn't have to be me doing it? And
Yes.
I'll start, hiring and getting help because
Mhm.
I need to be with my clients and with people, and everything else can be delegated and hired out.
Amazing. Okay, ladies, take note of that. I'm going to give everyone listening a little bit of homework. I want you to do this exercise that Brooke just mentioned because this is such a huge game changer. I think a lot of times we as women, we just put more on our plate, more on our plate, more on our plate because we feel like we can take it on. But if you can look at that and do the opposite and say, okay, my plate is full with 20 things or 10 things even, what can you start looking at? This is such a great exercise. What can you look at and start to say, how can I either automate, delegate, or outsource these things so it doesn't have to be me doing all of it? Brooke, that is such a great piece of advice.
I love it. I feel so great. I feel like, and you'll fall more in love with your business again. Like,
Yes.
when you first start, you're like so excited and you're putting in all the systems you think are great. And then
Mm-hmm.
until you learn all of the ones you really need.
Yep.
And yeah, I love that. Whenever I'm
So
feeling
good.
overwhelmed and not in love, or like thinking I have to do this instead of I get to do
Yes.
this, I'm like, okay, some like we
Yep.
need to
We
reevaluate.
need an audit.
Yeah.
I love it. So, I want to also ask you, has your approach shifted in now since becoming a mom, and what tools or systems have you adopted to make this new transition work for you in the way that you want your home and business to run? So the
Um,
question was tools or systems. So what tools or systems
tools
have
and
you
systems. So I
implemented?
have a CRM, like a client relationship manager. So every
Hmm.
contact I have, name, phone number, email, it's in there. And I'm I have systems and tools in there that send me a nudge of when I need to check in with someone or when I need to follow up. Like if I just did a day of showings with someone, I'll get it. I actually send it a virtual assistant I have. She'll message, or I'll message her and be like, nudge me in 3 days about Sandi Glandt if I just did the
Yes.
showings, you know? And
Yes.
it's just a little nudge, and it comes in through the CRM, and it's an app, and I get the notification on your phone. So I never leave a loose end. Like I always want to make
Hmm.
sure I'm checking in after something,
Yes.
even if, um, a few years ago, there was one I always forgot. When I sent a communication, and like you would assume that they're going to get back to you. Like it was very solid. Like they seemed very interested in looking at properties, and I send them the properties, and I'm like, 99% of my clients will send me what they want to see and when. And then there was a few that I'm like, oh my
Mhm.
God, like maybe a few months went by and I realized like I never heard back from them. And I saw that they bought something. I'm like, damn it.
Oh,
So
yeah. Like
yeah.
you were there, but the cycle wasn't like complete, the communication.
And I sent
Yeah.
the properties, and then now every time I send someone properties, I make sure I follow up the next day. What did you think?
Mhm.
Because I
Yeah,
don't
the
want to.
follow-up, baby, the follow-up system.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
so
I'm
good.
always, and oh, my number one system is Siri. Siri,
Okay.
for personal and professional, I like, okay, my husband and I were lactose intolerant, and
Mhm.
I carry these lactate pills with me because if we're going out for Italian, we're going to have burrata, or I'm having fettuccine
Yeah.
alfredo. Like, I need that lactate pill. It's my responsibility that they're in my purse. If we are
Mhm.
in a restaurant and he goes, "Let me get a lactate pill," and I don't have them, it's unacceptable for both of us.
Yeah.
So let's say I have four left, I will tell Siri, hey, remind me in 2 hours to refill my purse with lactate.
Yeah. Okay, so she's your assistant.
She's another one. Yeah, she's
Yes.
great. She's just the cost of your monthly phone bill.
Right. That's so good. That's so good. And there's little things like this. And for all the ladies that are like, well, I can't hire an assistant or I can't hire, spend that money. I'll tell you two things. Number one, you don't realize until you're actually doing it how much that, whether it's a system or an assistant or someone supporting you on your team, how much money they're actually allowing you to make by freeing up that time or by having those reminders. And then the second thing is you are holding yourself back by not having that
Mhm.
because you're just leaving it all on yourself to do everything. And that is never a recipe to be successful because you need people, places, automations, systems to support you in the growth of where you're going. So whether
Right.
it's Siri, an assistant, someone on your team that's helping you to, run the business or send out the emails or whatever it is that they're doing, like it's really important that you have that shift. Because I know for me in the very beginning of my business, before I really kind of understood that concept, I was like, but I can do it all. I can do it all. But why? Like, why should Sandi or Brooke be the one doing it all when I can focus on other things that are going to move me forward, whether it's personally or professionally, and I can actually get more of the right things done in that time and have other people or systems or automations or AI support me.
Yes.
So
Yes, and
good.
it's a mental block that I feel like we
Yes.
all have, especially when you first start.
Yep.
You're so scared to spend the money on
Right.
something that will bring you more money,
Right.
So it's
Yep.
like it's so scary, and then at every step of the business, like I think you recommended me a book. Was it What Got Me Here Won't Get Me There?
Yes. Yes.
Something, yeah. And like
Yep.
even if you don't read the book, just that saying, you know,
Yeah.
it's a fact. So you
Right.
have to shift, you have to change,
Yep.
if you want to grow.
Yes. So good. Well, I also I want to shift a little bit, and I want to ask you a question because recently you had just created a new Facebook group for local business owners here in South Florida. Really business owners, but also just people here in the community. And I wanted to ask you, number one, where you got the idea to do that, and then also has that helped you in maybe relationship building, building your business, nurturing your audience? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, I've been thinking about it for a long time to do it because,
I remember you and I talking about it when we were working together.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And, there's a few big ones that, but they're so restrictive with your
Right.
business posts. And, some of them have moms. And it's like, if you want to support moms, then let them post their business stuff so that they
Hmm.
can support their family. And,
Right.
so when that one started charging a lot of money, and I was open, I'm down to pay to
Yeah.
advertise. But when it was like, I think they wanted like $60 for a post, $100 if it was a
Wow.
video, or $100 a
Wow.
picture.
I didn't even look at it. I was
Oh
just like,
my,
this is crazy.
yes, there was tiers. It was there was like 7 different kinds of posts, whether it's text only, if you're including a picture, if it's a video, and if you
Wow.
want the admin to post it for you, was like, yeah. And I'm a bulk shopper. I love Costco. I love a good deal. And
Hmm.
I'm like,
Yeah. What mom
okay,
doesn't?
yeah. So I'm like, oh, there's a package. But then I didn't like the restriction. It expires like really soon. So it's like, no, I don't
Mm,
like that.
yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? This feels icky. I am going
Yeah.
to just start like a local Aventura one. And I started inviting all the business owners that I love. And I know
Yep.
they're also genuine and everyone
Right.
really great people. And I just love that people are sharing because we can all benefit, and it's also not restricted to just moms, like guys
Right.
are welcome too.
Right.
So
Well, and I think also like one of the biggest things that I appreciate as a mom, I mean, not even a working mom, just as a mom, is like, I feel like we as moms, we do our due diligence, we do our research. So if we find a dentist, a vet, a plumber, like that we love that does a good job, we will like praise that from the rooftops, you
yeah.
know? So like I found my kids like so my kids were going to a dentist here and they were booked out. We were traveling. I was like, I need someone right
Oh,
away. And I went into that group and I found someone. I love her so much. I'm not going back to my
yeah.
other one. Like
Oh,
I was like, this is
yeah.
amazing. So and I asked her, I was like, oh, how do you know Brooke? And she was like, oh, we went to school together. And I love the community feel, number one. And I also love that, like you said, these are local business owners who do an amazing job and they're reputable, right? It's like someone that you would want to work with, someone that again, we're not a small town. Like it's not a small town like I grew up in, but when you can find um local business owners that you can, number one, support, but also know that are going to take really good care of you, your kids, your home, whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
I will pay for that all day long because I know it's genuine and I know I'm going to be taken care of.
Yes, I know. I love that. I love
Yeah.
our city.
Yes. So it's so good. Okay. So I have one more question for you. And that is, what has surprised you the most about being a working mom? And what have you adopted now within kind of figuring out, maybe like navigating through some of these tough patches or lessons?
So what surprised me the most? Hmm. Well, first is how in love I would be with the baby. It's like crazy. I remember my friend's mom said to me, "You think you love your husband? Like, you'll never love anyone the way you do your own child."
Yeah.
And
It's you. It's like a piece of you. It literally is a part of you.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what is surprising about being a working mom? Hmm. It's it's just it's amazing. It's just it's not easy, and I
Mhm.
don't know what's I'm trying to think of an answer.
We didn't rehearse these questions ahead of time, so she's like a little
Oh,
bit on the spot here.
yes, what surprised me the most? Um,
It could be something about, how things that you're navigating. It could be something that maybe you thought was challenging that you worked through. I mean, it could be anything.
yes, something challenging. I mean, it's always going to be time management for me. Like no matter how much I time block, there's still weeks I'll like let it
Mhm.
all go if I realize I'm just neglecting my calendar. I'm like
Mhm.
even if it's there, I'm just like, okay, no, we can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the challenges are sometimes, if what he was getting fussy with he was just being very fussy. So we were freaking out. So when you have to um put business on hold and go be with the baby, like it's just yeah, that's what's challenging is managing it
Mhm.
all. And
Yeah.
what I'm very surprised about is I'm such a perfectionist, especially with my business, because
Right.
it's a service business. So if I let anyone down, it's horrible and I feel
Mhm.
terrible. So the goal is that that doesn't happen. So what surprised me is I'm fine with saying to somebody, okay, you want to see a bunch of properties? You love this building? I will pull a search for you tomorrow. Before it would be like, let me
Mm.
drop everything and I'll make you the
Right.
search right now. So and no one has been upset about that. I have,
Yeah.
thank God, my clients that I have are loyal and they're awesome.
Mhm.
And, but that's what's challenging is I want to get to everybody ASAP. And
Mhm.
sometimes that's the next day.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, it also makes you realize like what is most important to me. Is it like being the one that gets back to my clients in like that second in that moment, or is it being there with my family? And that also speaks to the boundaries you put in place. Like if phone is off at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. or whatever time you decide, like that's what it is. I think for me, it was also figuring that out because I have a hard stop at 3.
Yeah.
Some days it's actually 2, and Fridays is like I call them, my freedom Fridays. It's kind of like
Mm.
for events, for my kids, for me, a massage, like whatever I want it to
Oh,
be,
yeah.
but like I dictate that. So I think that again, there's so much power. Like being a mom is a superpower. I will say that all day long. It's a superpower. But I think for me, like it really revealed my weaknesses so I could focus on them and turn them into
Mm.
strengths. I think that's something that I noticed. Like I hated getting up early. I hated, like, to me early, like getting up early before I met my husband was like 9 o'clock. I worked I was doing event planning. So I would like work really late and then I would sleep late. And then I remember when I moved here, he's like, you are your own worst enemy. You're just, you won't get up early. And I remember like once I finally like kind of bit the bullet and was like, I'm going to do it. It was like, I knew I needed to do it for so long and I finally did it. And then once I did that, everything else changed. I was
Yes.
I was working out early. I mean, now I get up at 5 and sometimes even before that because I get up before my alarm goes off. So, that for me, I think your weaknesses get exposed, but it's an opportunity to turn that into a superpower.
100%. And I can relate to that so much because now that I'm waking up, 1 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
then 3:30, then 5:30, then 7. Like he's up all the time. We're not
Yeah.
sleeping through the night yet.
Jake, my
Um,
first, never slept. So I'm with you there.
DJ actually spent some money on an Instagram, how to get your baby to sleep through the night. So we hired a
Yep.
coach.
Yep.
So
We did it
we
too.
tracked everything for 3 days. We're submitting it, and I love delegation. So I actually
Yeah.
had my nanny. She's all in the app with us. So we all, my mom, we're all in the app, like
Good.
tracking his stuff.
Teamwork. Teamwork.
Yeah,
We say in our house, we say teamwork makes the dream work. The
yeah.
kids know it. My husband, me, like we're all on that same page together because it really truly is a team effort.
Yes, and waking up early. I'm excited, and I love that our nanny is flexible with time. She lives
Yeah.
really close. So if the schedule needs to change, like I'm very grateful that she's open because eventually
Mhm.
I want to get back to working out. I'm not working out as much right now.
But it's okay. You're in that
Yeah,
stage. Like your baby's, you said 10 months old,
10 weeks.
10 weeks old. Okay, Brooke. 10 weeks old. You are still in the, like, I was going to say 10 months, but 10 weeks? I mean, like, yeah. I mean, my boy, like Jordy was a really good sleeper and he didn't start sleeping through the night until like about 6 months. And he was a
Wow.
really good sleeper. And Jake just he didn't want to miss anything. So
Oh,
he wanted to be up with us all the time, never wanted to
he's
sleep.
such
It
a
was rough.
learner. Like I feel like he's always looking to learn and become
Yeah.
awesome.
Exactly. Exactly. So, it's very exciting, but it does come with its challenges. But like I said, I think it's an opportunity for us to kind of look and see what's serving me, what's not, and, just be open to flexibility and change.
Yes, yes.
So
I've
good.
let go of my perfectionism, so that's been great.
Well, Brooke, thank you so much for being with us today on the Slayer Day podcast. Where can everybody find you and connect with you?
Awesome. So I love Instagram, and you can follow me at the Healthy Happy Home Seller.
Awesome. Thank you, Brooke. Make sure to go check out Brooke on Instagram. We will put those links to the Facebook group also down below if you're local here in South Florida to join Brooke's new Facebook group, to join the community. And we will see you on the next episode. As always, make sure you go out and slay your day.
Slay your day.